Hello guys! Welcome to my YouTube channel. Live tayo guys, Sunday Live. Welcome po sa mga free lang dyan. Music lang po tayo. Busy na naman si host. Welcome guys!
Tonight, the mass shooting in Texas and the all-out manhunt for the alleged killer. The FBI cornering the suspect in the woods late today. He allegedly gunned down 5 of his neighbors execution style with an AR-15 after they complained about the noise he was making. This father lost his wife and 8-year-old son. This was all over the gun in an execution style. Dangerous escape. The U.S. finally evacuating American civilians from the war in Sudan. New detail on a treacherous journey guarded by military drones overhead. Coast to coast flooding and the weekend washout to the northeast that's not letting up. We're trusting the storm. A fiery drone attack inside Russian-held territory. Was Ukraine behind? The giant map of seaweed twice the size of the U.S. heading straight to Florida's beaches. We're out with researchers to see firsthand. Why is it so much worse this year? Pothole Nation. Why America's roads are so brutal this spring and how some cities are fighting back. And the Stone of Destiny. The ceremony today for a historic well. 1 week before King Charles was coronation. This is NBC 90 News with Jose Diaz Balak. Good evening. Last night in a small town just north of Houston, a neighbor moved next door to ask the homeowner if he could quiet down and had neighbor trying to sleep. It was past 11 o'clock at night. The noise was coming from the neighbor firing his AR-15 on his front lawn, something he was known to do. Soon after the family made the request, the man allegedly marched next door and opened fire execution style. 5 people are now dead. It's just the latest instance in recent days of everyday interactions descending into gunfire. In North Carolina, a man allegedly shot his neighbor and 6-year-old daughter because neighbors say a basketball rolled onto his lawn. In Illinois, a man using a leaf blower in his own yard was allegedly gunned down by a neighbor. The Texas shooting sparked a massive manhunt for the suspect. And Priscilla Thompson is on the ground in Cleveland, Texas.
Tonight, a massive manhunt in Texas.
There's no way to think when you've got a guy who just shot 5 people in the head, execution style.
Authorities searching with dogs, drones, and on horseback for Mexican national 38-year-old Francisco Oropeza. He's accused of barging into his neighbor's home late Friday night with an AR-15 rifle and opening fire after he had been asked to stop shooting the gun outside.
One of the victims came out of the house at him shooting for their child. This man takes it upon himself to walk out of his residence with a loaded AR-15, walk up into that man's house.
I want to see him tomorrow. 5 people were killed, all Honduran nationals, authorities say. The youngest just 8 years old. The father of that 8-year-old escaped the carnage, but returned to the scene today, heartbroken. My wife and my son are dead, he told our sister network Telemundo. 3 other children were also found at the scene, covered in blood, but uninjured, shielded by the bodies of their loved ones, the sheriff told us.
This was a
Investigators say they believe the suspect was intoxicated when he fired his weapon and say this isn't the first time they were called to the rural neighborhood. Authorities say reports of gunshots ringing out in the night is a normal occurrence here. They're always calling the cops for things. Always. Kids think of sleep and
Yeah, we already been there last.
a normal night turned unthinkably tragic.
Priscilla Thompson joins me now from Cleveland, Texas. Priscilla, what's the latest on the suspect?
Well, Jose, investigators say that they found the suspect's cell phone and clothing in a wooded area about 2 miles up the road from here. But now the dogs that were found have lost his scent, and investigators say that he could be anywhere. Jose?
Priscilla Thompson in Cleveland, Texas. Thank you. Now the daring escape that hundreds of Americans are making right now to get out of war-torn Sudan. The U.S. government finally launching an evacuation mission for some of the Americans who are desperate to get out. Josh Letterman has late details.
Any hada makan dari mana? Daripada spa anak niya basta siya. Wala? Okay, it's okay. So that we will know what's in there. So many Arab women and men there. Sisha, chili. Okay. And bring my white blazer. Okay. Oh. Where to? Okay. You want to what? Yes, tomorrow. I know there's a lot of marites. Oo. Sige na, rest. Relax. Don't think too much. Oo, bukas na. Linis ako kasi maliligo. Ayan, sinabi na. Okay.
Tonight, roughly 300 Americans trapped in Sudan are on their way to safety. A convoy of at least a dozen buses making a harrowing 500-mile journey through a war zone from the capital Khartoum to Port Sudan along the Red Sea. A U.S. official telling NBC News armed drones protected the convoy, and the Pentagon positioning U.S. Navy assets nearby. The evacuees' next stop, safety in Saudi Arabia. Nearly a week after SEAL Team 6 rescued 70 government workers from the U.S. Embassy, this was the first official U.S. civilian evacuation. It's unclear if it will be the last. It took us 5 hours to get out of the city. Chris and Denise Bowers made it out without U.S. help. Denise is a teacher. They took a 23-hour bus ride, a ferry, then another bus to Egypt. The trip interrupted by gunfire and multiple checkpoints. They were looking to make sure that there was no combatants on the bus. They're making
all of them off, screaming in Arabic. We had no idea what they were saying.
As the death toll soars past 500, desperate Americans getting out any way they can. Satellite images appear to show buses piling up on Egypt's border. This is an around-the-clock entire department effort. This family made it out on a Hungarian plane. Did you expect more from the U.S. government?
Yes.
We are so proud of America, and that Americans will expect that America will look after us.
The U.S. says it made every effort to notify Americans about the convoy, but is making no promises to those who missed it, including including several thousand Americans who stayed behind. Josh Letterman, NBC News.
Here in the U.S., 12 million are at risk for severe weather at this hour. The number is expected to get bigger tomorrow as floods, heavy rain, and even tornadoes threaten the country from coast to coast. Jesse Kirsch reports from Davenport, Iowa, where people are bracing for even more flooding.
With streets already flooded, tonight Davenport, Iowa is bracing for more water to pour in. Parts of the Mississippi River at major flood state. St. Paul, Minnesota, Burlington, Iowa.
We prepared. I mean, we knew it was coming, so we put everything up as much as we could.
Further north, Dubuque, Iowa, seeing its third highest flood on record. And while water surrounded some area residents' homes, downtown is dry. If what we're standing on right now did not exist, you'd be in big trouble, right? Absolutely. Yeah. We'd be in huge trouble. And you'd be completely at the mercy of the river. Dubuque has a flood wall, something Davenport's mayor says would cost too much. That city focused on other mitigation efforts. Still, some residents emotional, experiencing the rising water's destruction.
In my basement's a bunch of water is we don't session down there because the water's so high right now.
The multi-state floods weighs on melting snow. You're going to continue to see the fall roll like that well to the spring and summer months. Also foresee much of California's Yosemite National Park to shut down till at least Wednesday. Amid all that, baseball-sized hail was reported in parts of Texas Friday as a weak tornado was confirmed near Palm Beach, Florida, heading into a wild weather weekend that isn't done yet. Into a wild weather weekend that isn't done yet.
And Jesse joins us now from Davenport, Iowa, where Jesse, the water levels keep rising.
Yeah, Jose, I'm at the waterline, which is in downtown Davenport, but you can see the Mississippi River is supposed to stop all the way back there. Just gives you an idea of how much water has already spilled over into the city, and we're expecting the water level here to keep rising until midday Monday. Jose?
Jesse Kirsch in Davenport, Iowa, thank you. The rain is set to get worse for much of the East Coast. Meteorologist Angie Lastman is tracking the storms for us. Angie.
Weekend watch-out continues thanks to two systems that are hugging the eastern third of the country and bringing with it the heavy rain. This low pressure system zips up the East Coast and brings that heavy rain to the mid-Atlantic and Northeast once again tomorrow. With that rainfall rate upwards of 2 inches per hour, bringing us the concern for some flash flooding. Not to mention the severe weather that will hug the Carolinas as well as the southern half of the Florida Peninsula for 13 million people. Hail, damaging wind, as well as some isolated tornadoes possible into the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow. By the time we head into our next work week, some lingering rain showers and even some snow showers for parts of the Midwest. We'll have the upper peninsula of Michigan ending up with a couple of inches of snow by the time this is all said and done, as well as the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast ending up with upwards of 3 to 4 inches of rain. That's already.
Angie Lastman, thank you. Overseas, Russia is blaming Ukraine for a fiery drone attack at an oil refinery in the Russian-held territory of Crimea. Kyiv is not only claiming responsibility, saying instead they have a right to fire strikes in response to Russian aggression. In the United Kingdom, with just 1 week to go until the coronation of King Charles, preparations are in full swing. Today, an elaborate ceremony to welcome a historic relic known as the Stone of Destiny. Ali Arouzi reports from London.
1 week away from the coronation of King Charles, a full display of pomp and pageantry.
With joy that I bring this Stone of Destiny to this hour.
The Stone of Destiny, an ancient rock and sacred symbol of Scotland's monarch, brought from Edinburgh to London, to be placed underneath the coronation chair Charles will sit on for the ceremony. British monarchs have been crowned on the 336-pound piece of sandstone for centuries. The historic raid left Scotland Friday, the first time it's been moved since 1996. Next week, King Charles will be coronated on it, just like his mother, Queen Elizabeth, was in 1953. And tonight, coronation fashion, a first look at the robes the King and Queen consort will be wearing on the big day. Anticipation is building. I'm excited to come back here with London in full preparation mode. The procession band rehearsed today as royal family members released fresh images of themselves.
The Stone of Destiny has now arrived at Westminster Abbey, accompanied by Scottish and English officials. Following next week's coronation, it will once again be returned to Scotland. Jose? Alia Ruzi in London, thank you. And tune in for NBC's full coverage of the coronation of King Charles III. That's next Saturday, May 6th at 5 a.m. Eastern. Still ahead tonight, a seaweed invasion twice the length of the continental U.S. is coming straight for Florida beaches. Our reporter out with researchers as they track it. Tonight, the beautiful beaches of Florida are facing an ugly invasion. Huge masses of seaweed hitting the shore. But what we've seen so far is only a preview of what's to come with a gigantic mass heading that way. Our Sam Brock went out with researchers to find out why there's so much of it. It's just after daybreak. And permission to come aboard. And researchers from the Sea Education Association and Eckerd College are leaving the South Florida Marina on a critical mission to search for the giant masses of seaweed multiplying at record-breaking levels. They're going right for Florida's beaches. As we head to sea, we start to see clumps of it. The team wants to scoop up some of this latest wave called sargassum, moving in patches so large they're visible by satellite and almost twice the width of the continental U.S.
What are you trying to accomplish by coming out? Well, we're trying to understand why these moons are occurring. We think it has something to do with the fact that not all sargassum is the same.
The seaweed is already invading hotspots, from the Keys to Miami Beach, creating an increasingly ugly and nasty smelling mess.
What we've already witnessed on the shores of Florida is that the tip of the ice. I think it's just beginning. We probably have much worth of that coming.
Researchers still don't know what exactly is fueling this unprecedented growth. But to get answers, they're collecting 3 different types.
These are some of the best ones we've had all day.
And measuring factors like salt content.
This looks great. It's 37.9 parts per thousand and 26.5 Celsius.
Water temperature and other conditions that might explain why it's exploded in size to 13 million tons of the algae.
Right now, we're about 6 miles offshore from Florida. Look over my shoulder right now. I just blankets of sargassum. In fact, no matter which direction we look, it's all over here.
But where we are, the sargassum barely even registers on satellites. But if you look further south and east, all those blues and reds and greens are substantially larger patches moving this way. Back on land, vacationers brace for what's to come.
You don't like to walk through it? And when it's past your ankle, it gets really creepy.
It looks gross. It's really unattractive.
Researchers like Jeff Shell and Amy Sweda point out that sargassum may create a rotten smell with ice store on land.
This is shrimp running around. So they're the same color as the sargassum itself.
But in the ocean, it's a vital component of the ecosystem, supporting life like this frogfish, offering an oasis for organisms.
I fell in love with sargassum because of the fish and the shrimp and the crab. It's the only natural floating ecosystem on the planet.
We'll be changing the water in each of these jars.
Now, all these samples are being examined in a race of science versus nature.
That windrow of sargassum extends for miles in both directions. If that windrow is aimed at a beach, that's a game over. Like that sargassum is going to start burying the beach like that.
Ultimately, the team hoping to unlock some clues to a deepening maritime mystery. Sam Brock, NBC News, Dania Beach, Florida. When we return, why are there so many more potholes this year? you found yourself dodging or worse, driving right into more and more potholes this year, you're not alone. Across the country, it seems like the pothole problem is getting worse. In one city, reports like 300%. Now, some cities are fighting back. And our Nayela Charles, out of the pavement, looking for solutions.
Road, after suspension rattling road, America is going to pot. Potholes, they're just everywhere. And it's a hazard. In San Jose, daily calls for pothole repairs doubled earlier this year. In Fresno, California, pothole complaints were up 305% from last year. In Minneapolis, they more than quadrupled.
Are you satisfied with the repairs that are being done thus far?
Kevin Potter hit a pothole near his San Diego area home that wrecked his tire. So he and his wife formed their own pothole patrol. Around the area, documenting concrete craters on Facebook. Experts say wild temperature swings plus record rain have made the situation far worse this year.
So the number of drivers that have sustained vehicle damage from a pothole that have required a repair did increase 7% from the previous years.
This pothole's a big one. It's more than 2 feet wide and about 6 inches deep. And these potholes don't just cause a bumpy ride for drivers, they can also cause physical damage to cars.
I'm telling you, my car totally knocked out of line because they're so bad.
Josh Casillas owns a San Diego area shop that specializes in wheel damage.
So you're the one person that benefits from potholes.
We are. We're not complaining about the potholes, but at the same time, it's a problem here in California and also in San Diego.
He said that the roads cratered, his business skyrocketed, up 75% over the same period last year. Now the pressure is building on counties and cities to fix the problem. From Oakland to Minneapolis, they're declaring war on potholes. In some cities, the mayors themselves even helping.
So we heard the community, they said they want their potholes built.
In El Cajon, California, an all-out blitz this week. The city enlisting everyone from the park department to accounting to shovel, build, and move over the city's potholes.
We said, let's go out and blitz this. Let's make this a true customer service effort.
This week alone, they filled more than 550. But these road warriors have an uphill battle with the record pace of potholes, making it harder to just pave over the problem.
So are you satisfied with seeing the results?
Yes, I am. So when I go down the street next time, I won't go boomer.
I am with Charles, NBC News, El Cajon, California.
And when we come back, there's good news tonight. The marathon runner lifting all of us. There's good news tonight on big surprises and dreams coming true. There were cheers celebrating 8-year-old Noah Thompson. Here's his victory lap at Advent Health in Orlando. The brave little boy finally finishing chemo after battling leukemia for nearly 800 days. Near Philadelphia, it was career day to Wonka Elementary School. Here's Lydia Thompson telling her class about her soldier dad serving. That's when Army Sergeant First Class Chris Thompson surprised his 6-year-old, sharing an emotional embrace after a year. There were other surprises too. That's Lieutenant Walter Speed from the Anne Arundel County Police Department in Maryland, reuniting with 12-year-old Matthew Hennig. Speed saved the boy's life over a decade, giving him CPR after he nearly drowned swimming. And in Phoenix, a moment of renewed hope for the future. When these families were invited to Grand Canyon University and found out their high school seniors were getting full scholarship. For many children of immigrants, the gift represents their American dream. was this one from last week's London Marathon that really lifted our spirits. There's Paralympic athlete Richard White stopping to help a runner who collapsed. A simple yet powerful gesture in these times when the world sometimes seems so divided. This was going to no doubt affect your time, right?
For sure. And for me, it was a great moment of just saying, look, this is what it's all about. It's not about just when you cross that finish line, but it's about how you do it.
A champion with a big heart, putting others first. Kind of a life lesson for, I think, everyone.
For sure. There's always people less fortunate than ourselves. But you need to be one of those individuals that puts their hand out and offers that help for the greater good.
That's everything I do this Saturday at the JBF. Thank you. Privilege of your time. Good night.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.
Sleep and they go fast and they make lots of noise and everybody is wowed by them. They're deceptively beautiful, like being flight fast.
Aircraft launched from the sea from characters. Air ground patrols, GPS guide bomb. One of those frontline hornets has everything you could need to really just go out there and wreak havoc. These aircraft have left their mark on America's history, ways that few of us know. They had no right to win, but they did, and in doing so, they changed the course of the war. I lost 22% of the guys in my squad. 22%. You'll never forget that. This film follows young pilots today. They learn their credit and tells the sweeping history that they are heirs. I watched every billboard my hands on it. The history was one of the things that really drew me to this life. These were people who were willing to bet their lives to go ahead and bring this technology and this new kind of warfare. Back in the early 20th century, this is somewhat psychotic. You are part of a lineage people that have been witness to the biggest events of the 20th and now 21st century. You feel that every day you're part of something bigger. But embedded in this lineage is also controversy. Again and again, over 100 years, this craft has been called into question. As in practice, extravagant, obsolete. Now, today, a new round. And reason to wonder if this generation of engineers just might American Latin. This is the story of a weapon that changed the face of war. The aircraft can figure out the negative.
started racing dirt bikes, actually. I kind of wanted to be a professional dirt bike racer, and then quit the racing, went to college, and decided to come to the Marine Corps. And best decision ever made.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This whole piece will make to
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. A subscription applies.
Jump on it. Good luck. Thank you.
My mom's biggest an airport nearby where I grew up. You could set out close to flight lines, people could on landing stuff. Small planes flying over. Like this guy. It kind of captivates me on mine. I think that definitely grabbed me early on.
I tell a student, hey, what am I going to teach you how to do here? I want you to learn how to actually take off, go out and do something, and you're going to come back and land. And you're going to do that on land, and you're going to do that on a ship.
Every little thing will exercise before you're going out to the road. You're going over the entire planet 500 times in your head. Wonderful.
The instruments and how they're changing. In your head, imagine the airplane accelerating faster.
We'll just fly out there. First time you're going to, it'll be 15 miles out. And you realize you're going to be landing on there. I don't know what looks to me about a little drop of oil. See,
I think universally, the first time you roll up behind the boat, craft is what comes to people's minds. Everybody's been to the boat camp. The first time over, you look down, there's no land. They make that mistake. Part of the preparation, trying to think, okay, I'm going to see it, it's going to look different than what I had. It's going to feel different than this thing, but they're going to freak out. Fine. In the early 20th century, Americans flocked to airmen to witness with their own eyes a man take to the sky. In an age of innovation, nothing seemed more wondrous than the airplane.
these air gates would draw people from all walks of life. It was the real popular because here they have the aircraft flying, buzzing around. So oftentimes there were accidents which were almost as fulfilling as the flying itself.
The Army and Navy, too, were intrigued. They sent their representatives to the very first air meeting. The Army instantly saw the potential of flight and began purchasing airplanes. The Navy, though, was at a loss. The idea of using a flying machine on the open sea was beyond almost everyone's imagination. Everyone except a middle-aged naval officer, convinced that planes and ships working together could become a powerful weapon.
Captain Washington Irving Chambers is sort of an unlikely champion of aviation. He's a product of the 19th century traditional naval warfare. He graduated from Naval Academy not too far removed from the Civil War. But Chambers really expressed an interest in aviation. He wanted to look into it and study it. That's why he traveled to some of the air meets that were happening. He would go there to see what the latest technology in aviation was.
In the fall of 1910, Chambers attended an air show in Belmont Park, New York, in search of a pilot willing to try a grand experiment, launching an aircraft from a ship. Among the daredevils and showmen, one man clearly stood out, Eugene Ely.
Most people think early aviation, they think of aviators in these, leather jackets and flowing scarves and everything. And it just doesn't look the part of a dashing aviator. If you look at the pictures of him performing these feats, he was wearing a standard business suit. He had a bicycle inner tube wrapped around him for flotation. He wore a primitive football helmet. He's from Iowa, as far away from the ocean as you can possibly imagine. And someone who really didn't really care for the water, didn't really like swimming.
But when Chambers proposed the idea, Healy, the man who didn't like water, couldn't resist.
In addition to being a pretty good pilot, Healy also had a surprising eye as an engineer. He gets the idea that he can build a wooden flight deck on a warship, like a cruiser or a battleship, and actually get it going fast enough that if he flies his airplane off the end of it, he can actually get it into the air and safely maneuver it. Well, back in the early 20th century, this is somewhat psychotic.
Soon after their meeting, Chambers outfitted the cruiser, the USS Birmingham, with a makeshift wooden deck. Built to Healy's specifications, the platform was only 83 feet long and 24 feet wide. On the morning of November 14, 1910, rain squalls filled the sky. Healy waited nervously. Finally, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the weather cleared.
So Ely climbed aboard and revved up the engine as much as he could go. And as he went over the edge of the deck and out over the water, he actually descended a little bit quicker than he thought. He thought he might crash, and the wheels actually grazed water as he took off from Birmingham. But picked up enough flying speed that the wind went beneath the wings, developed some lift, and he was able to take off and fly shore.
Chambers was pleased, but he knew the hardest part was yet to come. Landing a speeding airplane on a rolling ship. Again, Chambers relied on Ely's practical knowledge.
Ely was facing the prospect of flying into the back of the smokestacks of the ship, so he had to come up with some way of stopping the airplane.
So what they did is they had sandbags connected by ropes, and these ropes were strung across the wooden deck at a series of intervals. And there were a series of hooks beneath the aircraft, and as these hooks snagged on those ropes, the weight of the sandbags that would bring the plane to a stop at the deck.
The weather on January 18, 1911 was cold. Ely flew from an air meet to the USS Pennsylvania, 10 miles offshore.
Eugene Ely made his approach to cruiser Pennsylvania. Eugene Ely made his approach to cruiser Pennsylvania. And successfully got to what is now the proper flight slope. Hit the deck, and the rope caught the hook on the bottom of his No, I've never seen anything like this before. I mean, you have to think at that time, you're only about 7 years removed, 8 years removed from the Wright brothers' flight. And here you have sailors seeing an aircraft land aboard their ship. It was something that was really, observing it must have been an experience to remember.
And the amazing thing is, the metaphors laid out by Ely of the flight deck, of the arresting gear, of the tail hook, are things that we still use 100 years later. The man was a visionary.
But Eugene Ely would not live to see the magnitude of what he achieved. Within months, he was killed in a plane crash during an airman.
My father was a K6 intruder guy. So as a young one, I got taken to lots and lots of air shows. I'd climb up on my dad's shoulder. Any kid is gonna look up and think it's brand amazing and they want to do it.
That's why I told you about the Roman. Is that when you see that line,
The thought of landing on the carrier is still a very big idea and not ominous, but it's still a heavy thought landing on a giant chunk of metal in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, second last fight for the officer of Monday. So, two more chances to protect. Here we go. We're bracket today.
when you're preparing to go to the carrier, all the students will grow a mustache. It's kind of maybe a little bit of a badge of courage around the squadron that you're far enough in the program that they're going to let you go to the boat.
Some of the fine young gentlemen going out to the boat are not quite as gifted in the mustache growing department, I guess. Some of them look exceptionally creepy.
Not a mustache guy, but it doesn't help that my mustache is blonde, so it's not gonna make you great, but
Unless you're a very special girl and you're not going to grow a mustache. But I have every intent of either finding like some like stick-on mustache or I'm just gonna draw it on every day because you gotta roast the guy. I mean, when I'm at work, I'm one of the dudes. When I get home, it's hair down, skirts, dresses. I'd like to be a girl, and I've found myself to end up being more feminine now than I used to be because it's almost like recharging the estrogen levels. So
it's definitely a competition. Everybody wants to be the best. You know, it doesn't matter if they're Army guys or Air Force guys. It's the same. Everybody wants to be the best. That being said, I mean, Navy guys are my good friends too.
There's always a little bit of rivalry between the Navy and the Marines. Jordan and I are pretty good friends. We've gone through all flight school and things together last step back 14 months ago, and pretty much been flying together.
Yeah, me and Rob, we started ground school day one in this building together and went through everything pretty much together. Anytime I was having issues, I would go talk to Rob, and Rob would get me straightened out. So
We work in that joke. We're creating the actual JD Levy. Certainly, most of the biggest points for our program are flight literacy, combat, and yes.
more than a decade to compete in this pioneering flight. U.S. naval aviation is still.
Most people would think that, hey, well, this is a major demonstration. The Navy fall over itself by aircraft. Well, that wasn't the case.
Airplanes were still made of wood, flat, and could barely hold the weight of a man, much less the heavy bomb. But from the moment he witnessed Healy's plane land on the ship, Captain Washington Chambers could imagine the future.
Chambers would look down the pipeline and see that there were tantalizing new technologies beginning to appear on the horizon. New materials like movement, new structures of monocoques, new fuels like high octane gases. Planes were going to get faster. They were going to go farther. They could lift more. We're also going to forget more.
By the end of World War I, the airplane had become a part of modern warfare. The British were the lead, but the Americans were anxious to catch up. So were the Japanese, who built the world's first aircraft carrier from the ground. The Navy embraced the seaplane for reconnaissance, but the effort involved in lowering and retrieving planes made them useless of shelter. For Chambers, it was clear the Navy was falling behind. He continued to press.
You have Chambers going and doing this incredible marketing job to a very conservative member board of the U.S. Navy, trying to sell a very new, very expensive technology, which, oh, by the way, required of some of the largest and most powerful warships in the world to prove that it was even viable.
For the Navy brass, carrier aviation was a distant enemy. Nothing could replace the team of their fleet.
Up to this point, the war plans of every nation in the world still envisioned big gun battleships, 8, 10, 12 at a time, lobbing one-ton shells at each other until one side or the other gave up, and that would determine the fate of the nation.
The final push towards carrier aviation came unexpectedly, not from inside, but from an inter-service rival, fueled by a brash Army general named Billy Mitchell. Mitchell had been in charge of all America's aircraft in World War I, an experience that forever changed his vision of war.
If you look at World War I, just a horrific experience. You had trench warfare. People killed by the thousands, hundreds of thousands. And you had people like General Billy Mitchell, who looked upon the airplane as a way that could change warfare and could get warfare out of the trenches.
Mitchell's determination matched his airmen. He wanted to consolidate all military air power under one service, an independent air force under his command. Mitchell set out to do something big, something never done before. If the whole world believed that airplanes could not kill ships, well, then he would prove them wrong. In July of 1921, he orchestrated a show for decision makers in Congress. Mitchell's airplanes first destroyed several old battles. Then came the most important. Each plane carried a newly invented 2,000-pound bomb. Their target, the captured German battle, long being unseen. This was a triumph for Billy Mitchell, and it achieved the exact opposite. what you want.
It triggered in Navy leadership a decision to look at, hey, we have this air power advocate, General Bill Mitchell, and if we don't embrace aviation and look at aviation as a backup to the fleet, then we may have an independent Air Force behind us, but also may have a Navy that's great committed.
Within a few months, the Navy regained the lead, converting a cargo ship into an aircraft carrier christened the Lane. The age of American carrier aviation was born. The Langley operated for 2 years in an experimental role, testing aircraft and training pilots. We like to talk about the golden age of aviation 20s, where we had wooden airplanes and iron men. These were people who were willing to literally bet their lives to go ahead and bring this technology and this new kind of warfare to war. It was hard and it was dangerous, and a lot of naval aviators died. And this is really where the reputation of naval aviation began to be built. The naval aviators in the interwar period are very much characters out of the movies. Yeah, they had silk scarves. Yeah, they had leather jackets and flying helmets. Yeah, they had steely-eyed looks and they were handsome. They did daring deeds. They were, for lack of a better term, the macho men of their time. The guys that had no fear. Because they were confident in their own capabilities, set apart from those that preferred to keep their 2 feet on the ground. I guess the word is probably ego. Probably ego. It was probably what got me into it. I want to be a big shot. The image of naval aviator was a red convertible, top down, with a beautiful blonde alongside. Who could want anything else?
Every day you're operating in 3 dimensions.
You go right now and see what problem fixing. If you don't have things memorized cold, you can't put them into action quick enough.
We make our own mistakes and tell the plane to do the wrong thing sometimes. If things go wrong, they can go really wrong.
Some days you're just on, some days you're not. Hopefully we'll keep when we head to the boat and have a good day. We'll practice. We're well rested. We're ready to go, and we're at the top part of the game, close to being as good as we can be.
You give them a signal. So palm up like that. Palm down.
I'm having a feeling that I'm gonna look and be like, wow, I have to land in that little spot, and that boat's not as big as I thought it was gonna be. But trying to keep those out of the head right now. Just focus on what we're taught to do.
This will be a completely new experience for me, for most all the other students. Because no complete experience. It's gonna be loud, it's gonna be busy. I mean, they've been showing us all people he was going so crash by front. It's all learning one big problem. Yeah. When you come home, the nerves break up. It is completely foreign and probably most sad to it in our lives at this point. So. In the mid-1920s, the Navy had just one small carrier, the Langley. Airplanes had become sturdy, pilots better trained, but still unresolved was how to use those in war. Amid the wavering, one figure emerged to take the lead. His name was Admiral Joseph Mason Reed.
Every move by these naval aircraft has a definite purpose and has the single aim of achieving a fighting fleet.
His nickname really good Reeves had this beard goatee that he wore. He's a hard charger, a football player at the Naval Academy, studied tactics, and he is a convert to naval aviation.
Reeves chased the naval doctrine that confined planes to reconnaissance. He was after a weapon as lethal as battle.
For him, it very quickly became, how can we use this aircraft carrier not as a support weapon, but as an offensive weapon, as the offensive centerpiece of a naval force.
Admiral Reeves understood, even with Lang, that you had to maximize the number of planes to be launched from that flight deck. Bringing the most intense concentration of firepower onto a target as possible.
In 1928, Reeves got a platform that matched his condition.
The United States takes two incredible hulls, battlefields that we're building, and they put all of their tonnage into these two ships, and they produce two of the most beautiful, powerful, and in fact, fastest warships in the world, the Lexington and the Saratoga.
Reeves loaded the two carriers with nearly 100 planes each. Within a year, he overcame the seemingly impossible. Launching and landing dozens of airplanes in rapid fire succession.
It's a jigsaw puzzle. It's like baseball, made with inches. You can pick a million different cliches, and I don't think anybody really capture what happens on a flight deck with dozens of airplanes, some launch, some recovering. There was this constant ballet going on, choreographed by deck departments, air departments.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. I need gold card for 280.
Their bare hands and muscles
Yes.
to push
42A.
100 airplanes.
Thank you.
New and better planes were in the pipeline. The Curtiss SBC-4 Helldiver could carry a 1,000-pound bomb almost 600 miles. The next challenge, delivering the bombs with more precision. And for that, they invented dive bombing.
Dive bombing is a technique that was developed by the Navy because it provided a very accurate way of bombing a pinpoint target. In ships, a pinpoint target. The plane come in at about 10,000 feet and then pushes over into a steep dive. And when I say steep, meaning going straight down.
Inside the cockpit is locked to do with the cannons open. As the airplane would push over, the visceral feeling of being lifted out of your seat and hanging from your strap, looking through a very simple reflector gun sight. And meanwhile, ship you're aiming at, well, it's a moving target. It's snake, circle, it's changing its speed. Imagine at about 2,800 to about 1,500 feet isn't very high off. You release the bomb. In excess of anywhere 4 to 6 or 7 G's come out of that guy.
Naval aviation gained power, reach, numbers, and precision, but was still untested. Starting in 1929, the Navy began a series of war games called Fleet Problem to put Reeves's theories to the test. None proved as prophetic as the vast Pacific exercise known as Fleet Problem 13. On February 7, 1932, the carriers Lexington and Saratoga peeled away from the fleet, sailed towards Hawaii. 152 planes were dispatched to attack Pearl Harbor with dummy bombs. In the mock assault, they pounded the airfield and forts.
And why it's so important is because it shows that the carrier can operate independently and operate as its own task force and did not need to have outline their support. And it shows the offensive firepower of the aircraft carrier.
The Navy minimized the risks of attack by carriers. For the next decade, the old strategies they learned to change.
These are tough times. This is the Depression. We had existing battleships. They were there, were paid for, we knew exactly how to employ them, and they worked.
But Fleet Problem 13 not go unnoticed. Across the Pacific, the Japanese studied it closely. Over the next decade, they would expand their fleet of large carriers to 6. They would build the Zero, a state-of-the-art fighter. They would train 3,500 naval pilots. The carrier force that moved toward Pearl Harbor in December of 1941 was the largest and most powerful in the world. In a bitter irony, Pearl Harbor stand as the first real world proof that carrier aviation was the next super weapon. When you walk out on the deck in the mornings, it's pretty impressive. Quiet, peaceful. When you start to pre-flight, you can feel the ship starting to wake up. You can hear the surf going underneath the hull. You can look out the horizon, see the clouds. You just breathe in that fresh air, and it's a good day to fly.
Glad is flight. And everybody that was qualifying was solo. That's another appeal to what we do is that you go out there alone. It's on you.
Everybody says that your reputation, it doesn't matter how well you fly in the air. Your reputation that everybody hears about is how well you land in the air.
And the formation part of flying was really shaky. I thought we should have looked better coming over at the ship. I think that was more nerves than anything, but the 3 students definitely, it was pretty ugly coming overhead.
To see that piece of American territory out there in the ocean is awesome. It the first time when you're coming over and you look down, it's you gotta get the chills. I don't know if they were nervous chills or just wow. It makes you very humble.
When you get out to the boat, pretty much just spend 10 minutes giving yourself this like once in a lifetime pep talk. The next thing you know, Howard's calling you down to get set up for landing.
You have now started standing next to the wires on the deck in the landing area and spreading off your passes.
They're listening for the sounds and the engine making. They can tell you've made a mistake before you see the mistake. Roll down, all a little high and keep it safe. Bump up the power a little bit. The landing area is angled to the left of the center line of the ship. So anytime you roll up behind the ship, the landing area is actually moving away from you, not just away from you, but to the right. So you're always lining up a little right. You'll see the plane kind of undulate. You'll see black smoke shooting out of the exhaust because you're in there fighting. All the LSOs go by. We're all staring straight out that beam. All wires go by 30 feet over them. I knew mid-pass that it was that I just bought that whole big time. So power back up and take back off.
Bolter is when they come around with their hook down and they land two bombs, they miss all flat. They have to go around the track. The first track was kind of a rough pass for me. Rolled out, center line. I believe it was a good start. A little high in the middle and trying to chip it down. A little high for you.
The first draft, there's no way to really describe how it's going to be. It's just screeching noise. Your body sort of your feet to get that feeling. It's nice because you know you're in fact stopped and on the boat. First attempt at stopping while
We over to get fuel and you're still shaking, your foot's sitting there pulsing, and they taxi you up to the cat, shoot me off.
Everything goes dead silent. My first initial thought was my engine was failed. I had to realize that I was still climbing and my altitude was increasing to realize that I'm safely airborne.
Coming down a high start, trying to chip it down while remembering the first pass, which was my flat through down to the one wire. Didn't want to do that. Had too much power on it. I forgot to put my hook down. Around my waist. So second day, flames came out a little bit more. I guess the cockpit came out maybe.
Jordan Meredith, one of my good buddies, he had a better second day. I should not.
With Rob being in the Navy, me being in the Marine Corps, Rob chances going back to the boat are almost guaranteed. I mean, that's all the Navy jet pilots go to the boat, whereas Marine jet pilots don't necessarily go to the boat ever again.
We've pretty much
Honey,
been flying
you
together.
still busy?
Gone out to the bottom, but I'm assuming.
Okay,
you know,
hon.
He'll be happy Marine.
Okay.
I was kind of depressed because back in the Marines, I always didn't go to the boat. And in fact, I may have to go to the boat again. It's such a cool
Devastation at Pearl Harbor was the work of carrier. 350 Japanese planes launched from hundreds of miles out of the sea. In just 2 hours, they wiped out most of the battleships of the Pacific. It was a massacre.
Japan not to stop. And there were some people in the United States who believed Japan couldn't stop. But eventually, Japan would not only control all of China, the Philippines, and Dutch East Indies, but the northern coast of Australia, possibly even India.
In the United States, the loss of the battleship upended every plan for how a war in the Pacific could be fought and won. By sheer luck, 3 aircraft carriers had been spared. They were out at sea during the attack.
You have this bizarre situation that the Japanese attack with aircraft carriers forces the United States into a carrier-based naval strategy.
It was now up to the U.S. carriers to hold the line in Japan's imperial navy. In June of 1942, the Japanese fleet moved toward a pair of small American-held islands in the Pacific. Midway Atoll was just 1,000 miles west of Hawaii, and strategically important. A threat of invasion was sure to draw a full-out American response. It was designed as the perfect threat.
The Americans sorried with about 50 ships.
Three of them are aircraft carriers.
They're facing off against what looked to be impossible odds. The enemy has vast numbers of ships, almost 200 ships. They've sorted the entire combined fleet.
The morning of June 4th did not start well for the Americans. Radar on Midway began tracking 107 incoming Japanese planes. Within minutes, every operational U.S. plane was in the air. The Japanese bombers swept through the defense. Out at sea, U.S. carriers Enterprise, Hornet, and Yorktown launched their planes, hoping to hit the Japanese carriers before they could unleash a second strike. Three squadrons of TVD Devastator torpedo planes reached the Japanese fleet. Flying at wave top level, they were easy prey for anti-aircraft fighters. Of 41 torpedo planes, only 4 survived. Not one torpedo scored.
The early strikes that morning, both from Midway and from the American carriers, suffered crippling loss.
Of the men and aircraft that launched that morning, about half did not return. Meanwhile, two squadrons of SBT Dauntless dive
الطموح إلى السماء والنجمة قربنا تصنع للواقع بعيد وتبتكر وتختصر الطريق وترسم ملامح مستقبل ما نبغي تعالوا نحكي عنها مخرجة فتانا شغفها بالمحتوى إبداعها تتفنن تكسر تعدل وتخرج محتوى مليء بالأصوات وصل لأجزاء في 50 مليون سنة وهذه الحالة مبتكرة ومبدعة من معناها القوة واشتباه الصوت كمان لمساعدة الاجتماع عن طريق فهم الوقت
dive bombers launched from the Enterprise in search of the Japanese carrier. They were led by a 40-year-old lieutenant commander from Buffalo, New York, named Wade McCluskey.
McCluskey gets out to the point where he's been told the Japanese fleet will be waiting for you there. Gets out there, but nothing in sight.
Staring at the vast expanse of ocean, McCluskey had to decide whether to return his men to the Enterprise or lead them on to its errand.
And McCluskey decides, well, I'm going to take my force of 2 squadrons of dive bombers. I'm going to have them follow me on a very methodical search pattern. Now, he has a little problem. He's running low on gas. And more than a few of his pilots are looking at the gas gauges, wondering if the old man really knows what he's doing. And then McCluskey spots a Japanese destroyer. He figures that Japanese destroyer is going at high speed towards something. I'll bet you that's the Japanese fleet.
McCluskey followed the destroyer. Approaching from the south, he spotted 3 Japanese carriers. His bombers plunged into their dives, catching 2 of the carriers by complete surprise. Minutes later, a third U.S. squadron stumbled on the scene and attacked. As McCluskey looked behind, through the tall columns of smoke, he was stunned. The Americans had sunk 3 carriers, along with some 300 aircraft, and nearly 4,000 men.
That man and that action took the Japanese Navy essentially out of the war at that moment. Japanese had gone from absolute position of supremacy to they never go on the offensive ever again. And it all came down to about 4 dozen dive.
The pilots who followed McCluskey that day were ordinary men. Many were newbies.
They had no right to win, but they did, and in doing so, they changed course.
The Battle of Midway was the most decisive single naval battle in U.S. history. Over the course of World War II, Navy airplanes would provide dominant firepower in every important battle in the Pacific. Carrier aviation had proved itself beyond measure.
every World War movie I can put my hands on as a little kid. Attack on Pearl Harbor, Battle of Midway. The history has shown that even small carrier forces can bring a lot to bear. The way things are, one person can change history, basically. So it's a very large responsibility.
What's up then? I said a wing. Tonight's finish to a lot of hard work. So yeah, definitely a good time.
I love this fast chemical for a day. But guess what? The next challenge is ahead of you.
El Centro, California. Young naval pilots come here to learn how to drop bombs.
First couple flights they do, it's almost like a head explosion. There's so much going on.
You're learning the dive bomb pattern, what they would use in World War II and Korea.
Roll 135 degrees inverted, roll out, and start screaming towards the target.
Get wrapped up. Oh my God. If you go so fast and is so cool to look at, but you're forgetting the reason why they were built and why they exist and why we're trying to fly them.
This is the story of a weapon of war, naval aviation. Ever since World War II, aircraft launched from sea have played an outsized role in America's war.
You are part of the lineage of people that have been witness to the biggest events of the 20th and now 21st century.
But this lineage has been precarious. As warfare evolved, the fortunes of naval aviation ceased. More than once, it was written off as impractical. Too dangerous. Or simply out of reach. This is a story of repeated challenges in engineering. And human form challenges as well.
It won't be easy to think, oh, I'm just going to go out and drop bombs and if you kill somebody, okay. That's the time and that's the reflection. And
The human is the topic. But how long will he or she even be? Should automation be allowed to replace this pilot? The last fighter pilot's been born. Someone might say that. Machines, people. 100-year story and an argument without end. In the teens and 20s, only a handful of daredevils and visionaries could imagine that flimsy biplanes and makeshift wooden decks would one day change the nature of war. Hundreds of young aviators risked their lives to bring this technology. In 20 years, they created World War II. Carriers proved decisive every major battle.
Naval aviation ends World War II at the top of the warfare mountain. They've gone from nowhere to being the biggest and baddest weapon in the world, or so they think.
The bomb that destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki also destroyed established military doctrine. Soon after, the U.S. created a new independent air Force and placed it front and center.
The Air Force was assigned the mission for delivering atomic bombs. They're the only ones who had the capability, so that was a logical assignment. The Navy could see that, yeah, wars of the future were going to be atomic, and the Navy didn't have the capability, we were going to be extinct.
The Navy staked its future on a massive new carrier, the first chemical war, a whole new design. Abruptly, the Secretary of Defense stopped construction. There's no reason for having a Navy. The Air Force can do anything the Navy.
This was a blow to the heart, a dagger to the heart of naval aviation. The people who support the big bomb aboard the big bomber run by the Air Force think they've got it knocked. They think they've won the great bureaucratic war. They're going to be the dominant service. And then there is Korea.
On June 25th, 1950, Communist North Korea invaded the Republic of Korea to the south.
Korea came as a complete surprise to us. The bases that we had planned to use for the Air Force in South Korea were overrun and captured by the North Koreans almost immediately.
Just a sliver of land remained in South Korea's control. The U.S. military spared South Korea. Now its nearest air bases were hundreds of miles away. And nuclear weapons, what use were they? Is North Korea's ally, the Soviet Union, also had bombs?
The situation in Korea is so critical that we in the Navy must give the ex-enemy the maximum practical support. I direct the commander of the 7th Fleet, the commander of Carrier Division 15, he directed provide the maximum possible air gunfire support. Second move.
In a striking reversal, the military brass dusted off 4 World War II carriers and rushed into the Korean Peninsula. The carrier was back.
Starts building one super carrier per year. Forest, Saratoga, Independence, Ranger, Kitty Hawk, Constellation. The next decade, we add 8 more super carriers.
The Korean War fought mile by mile conventional weapons and lasted 37 long months. Navy and Marine Corps lost over 500 planes.
I lost 22% of the guys in my squadron when I went to Korea. 22%, you never forget that. You come back from a tour, you've been the commanding officer. There's a single mother, the only thing she had in her life was her son. He was 23 years of age. Trusted to you, you were to get him ready, take him over there, bring him home. And you didn't. They gotta go visit him. You gotta sit on the park bench. You gotta let her hold your hand. You just gotta sit there. You don't do it.
During Korea, a new aircraft was flying off carriers, the helicopter, ideal for rescue missions. In the winter of 1950, a helicopter would join the effort to save the life of a 24-year-old pilot named Jesse Brown. Jesse Brown had packed a lot into his 24 years. He had, as the first combat aviator, reached the Navy's color line.
Jesse grew up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. His father was a sharecropper. He always wanted to be a naval aviator. But he gave up the idea because blacks were not accepted in aviation. He got a scholarship to Ohio State University, and a Navy lieutenant took a liking to Jesse and encouraged him to put in for it, which Jesse did, and he was accepted into the Navy's flight program.
He arrived in Pensacola Port, which is
very much a southern city. The entire Navy establishment, from the officers club to standing in lines for a meal, he was alone. There was no one like him.
And when he's in the airplane, he generates a certain amount of freedom. Only to have to land in and face the social inequalities that existed as part of America.
In 1948, Jesse earned his wing, joined the squadron on the USS Lincoln. On the carrier, the atmosphere seemed different.
There's a sense of acceptance amongst aviators who share a common goal and common capability.
It was in the tight quarters of the carrier that Jesse Brown got to know fellow aviator Thomas Hutton.
Jesse was a very friendly person. They joked that he by far got more mail than anybody else on the ship, which is probably true. And he was just the person we all admired and loved.
And
On December 4th, 1950, Hutton and Brown were assigned a reconnaissance. By all appearances,
It was cold. We had 6 aircraft in our flight. We were on the reconnaissance. Coming on Jesse's airplane, and shortly after Jesse called out, he was losing road, but he couldn't stay on the line. He's going to have to make a fast move. Of course, there's no question about it. It's a good part. He circled around it. He started listening to open to it. And then his ladies said, so the senior is actually I thought that the chance of the reason he did it was for out of the conference in his life. So I made the decision to crash down the real airplane. Taking up the building. Yes, I understand that we didn't get out there to believe that the bottom is really caught in this creativity. I couldn't do anything about holding on to one thing and doing my best to keep it balanced. It was pretty hard, I think. It was like none of them together. But when he said Jesse, with John Jock, between the two of us, he couldn't get a good footing. Jesse pulled in so badly that we made it 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Thinking about trying to take a 1-0, and we got this thing to get a lot colder, a lot faster. And I said that you couldn't find a contact in that area after that. We didn't have those groups. And he said, it was suicide. I always felt bad so that it was really close. I have to think that he did not participate. We have to see this in the way, we expect to play. almost killed their flying jets in the early days, auto carriers, was at best difficult from times uses. It was there. We did a lot of experience. I took command of the jet fighting squadron. I had 1 hour of jet time, 1 hour to get in. When I took command of the squadron, it was from the deploy. I had people responding to me who had never been on it. They gave me a handbook and said, when you're ready, I'll give you fire. So I read the book and the guy gave me enough that and I took off. I was here. The lady was closing up the new top sort of like that. When California comes to board a captain, the class is the way out. The captain top 30, so planes that on the deck. The trick comes in that it takes them to like 35 seconds for the signal to unwind. We're going back to the code, radar, there's not enough room on the period. So we get to that, we have to forward is a form over the bird, land and is activated up and get that from fire. In September 1951, the USS carries between jet fighter, Mr. Mark, the going into a plane on a forward flight. During these early days, yes, was actually worse in some ways than it was during the old from how people if how couldn't get to avoid carriers and make them work well, then carrier parts later aviation gone. But what looks like impossible problems turned out to be you see, three great things come along with the jobs traffic on the state. The first is the alien jet. The landing section of the jet is like a canvas. All of a sudden, you're not crashing into the first floor of airplanes and starting out getting a chance. Another thing you get off, the first automated landing system. This is a stabilized system that can provide one from operate landing to when you're in the right flight path. The main concept. In the final, the words came up with a steam gun. Using first unit the warships and force. By the 1950s, the fastest, highest performing, most heavily armed, most powerful airplanes in the world are amazing fighter bombs flying aircraft carriers. More than ever, the tools are not right. It was naval aviators in 1959 who crashed into America's new space. They all developed in next to the Cold War, these planes and their pilots were emblems of American strife. First, my increasingly, we were struggling with the problem. We're trying to get people like this book. Then we developed the jet. security over the blockade of the attic. But he also puts this site on a row of prefab buildings west of Florida, home to a neighborhood whose jets were equipped with cameras, uniquely designed for low-price, high-resolution photography. Commander William Eckert received his boot, and in the early morning of October 23rd, took off his wings. Police, April, Genesis slates, and receiving private information. People walking through the see the mysteries on these buildings, see the long walls, they see the security equipment, mediate their as everyone was building the right thing. On October 25th, at the UN, Ambassador Adlai Stevenson pressed this statement. Ambassador Dorothy denied that the U.S. technology played a big place to lead in the community of training support and flexibility. This point the Soviet ambassador and did not that they were placing this missile in here at these motions that came up with the facility with these boards. And after his amazement sees the photos of he and his name in taken, suddenly he presents the world with the best evidence in court for the opinion. It's 3 days after the showdown at the U.S. The Soviets agreed to remove the missile. The Cold War was destroyed, but they not hope for that. A lot of fun. The rock over the destroyed and built. The top was at the next time. The other time, we do it great for the Vietnam kind of thing. If you want to be able to aviation low, if this continues to work, it's called rolling front. The pilot refers to it as rolling front. Then nearly because the White House president stuff is marked on the target, and we were only close in this direction because this direction is 5 over public school. President Johnson was waging war by proxy against the communists in Vietnam and to the rest of the state. He was playing June to avoid what he would do. I found him folks to be a larger group, and I found him a 4-mile circuit around the north side. You don't have to look there. You want to know shit. Chips, Soviet chips, the children to be unloaded, the unloaded, sitting there. No, he is the one to find you. Well, I'm not going around the circuit of public school. You know what? oftentimes one of these he quickly overruled things and talked, but it was too late. Like, it was what it was like. It was all out right. Because you have to be able to that was like it was and it was pretty time. It shook the entire depths of the human being. However, it was of course. And it was long past his youth and his continues and quality. People, young people, also. After Vietnam, the number of blacks in the movie, both enlisted men and officers, rose steadily. And more if women want to achieve their country, which time was the process on Pluto, was having that one of the first women to have a maiden title. And years later, the land of death and terror. It was saying you're actually close to this and being the whole category of pregnant. You know, it really clear that this was not his idea. And others are like, yeah. Important thing is not the first man monster practically who was one example of black men who made radios in the contact of that. And when I first reported the squad and three stepping down in body, the road I know was in that time for this group. He was a big man. And he said, I use my size to help me establish myself. You don't have to do things in way. You cannot outside. So one thing that I haven't in the capital schools, is taking those great faces to the family and friends and stuff. American was forced to see the office behind the wall of armed women and conflict for fear in 1993. For the century, it was no longer a use to women and fight. Even now, we have the restrictions on this. Not to thought that black men would have a more difficult time than women. It was still rare to see a black man get all the way up. Here's the hardest thing to work with. Majority of our communities have been in pro-family or helicopter figures. And so when we go down to the polling basis, this is where it is. The attacks on the World Trade Center on 9/11 were frustrating medium and difficult military. As much as common civilian and not people. I'm not sure what to do. Common people. Global position, which was transforming the fact NATO aviation and the expectations right. Carriers rushed to the Persian Gulf, that remained a constant testing center. Air Force performed many missions and Afghanistan. By Washington, policy by us. Carolina is to secure railway line. Those who took flying is paid that those realities of the story will drop it off the side. And study code reality. Royal to one of the first missions be elected 2000. His memory on the window of recent Air Force. We have to get stopped off. They have simple features. We are confident using how they cross the line. You take the first line yourself, this aircraft. On something like the so very multiple so of course the Asians throw at we have the number of mile and we're seeing fire. It looked like somebody spraying it's just a very strange without body experience. You're so focused on what you're trying to get. They all have philosophical topics about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. That's honestly not the way. You're in with power. I'm thinking that's really going to possibly take second. That's always going to be and that's why I think it's very mutually involved.
Yeah, like that. Just think about it.
It's so civilization. Everyone knows that freedom is killed either in Iraq and Afghanistan. This far true that human beings are iron bomb before laser bomb and GP bolts. Still, each is a human one. And the propaganda in the struggle to win over popular mind. In 2011 marked the 10th year of war, fought village to village, house by house. Once the conflict shifted to the ground, Terry and Jeff had to get used to his support. Nothing to do. We make one with 699 mission of record. You communicate with the soldier level families. You were able to drop a weapon. You were able to do anything else. Really, a tangible act in support. It's not going to lie. We don't need to drop it. After 2 long, crazy rounds, the cost of make it a license hard to test. As in the revolution, and teachers can use once again, draft and push. It's very possible in a matter of a decade or so that naval aviators will fly strike missions and never leave the ship. Usually, unmanned aerial vehicles. Basically, model the Air Force uses them for reconnaissance, their strike, in terms of control from the bottom. What kind of functional units are mind directed getting their point to the front? And you can send it to the office. And sometimes working with the fact
And this is really not have to have a positive at all. And really is a bigger than is the 18, 19 years old. Have the control.
They always have to think about something that's bad, but eventually something can be and then actually talking about this, and it was just not stopping my way. It's interesting. It's a really good thing.
The experience on that aviator is going to think twice before it makes the decision.
And there is that possibility that when you remove the humans from being on this overly targeted, the decision that's really between the least point, you divorce yourself from the humans away from what happens in time. Things built that naval training academy for a new generation being prepared for combat. They seem prepared also for the revolution. You see the fact that women are definitely received the capabilities, the ability to stay, long hours and hours. They have better eyes and they have longer legs. They don't have a black. You take the emotion they didn't make this military strong. I think we're close to this. and the conflict turned into a war of attrition, which turned was an ended. In May 1940, the war in the West would end quickly, but it needed strong commitment into so there's a lot of emotion into the idea eruptions with 3,000 tons, 40,000 pieces of artillery, 6,000 anti-tank guns, and 1,000 rocket missiles. Progressing thus effectively better than much of
ICR. Sekian.
and truck much force in a detailed city. After 48 hours, the Germans had integrated a little over 10 units in 3 sections of the sector. Off formation with a strong push, forcing the Russians to send reinforcements to hold the advance. But Frederick, by the night, operated rounds up burst moving over 20 miles. It's a useful process. The attack is large to the region. The strongest advance was the first 20 kilometers, and the 11th on the 12th, the Soviets brought their armies attack the 5th and 6th Guards companies to Kosovo. What folks was a massive crash of Napoleon's forces. The Russians, the Syrians, I was just the once again. Just the and the 200 more operations, which is the money and carrying something into the function. And why is that? This is the way that I these metrics are possible. And what's my problem? For example, the Tokyo, who is the secret is from the Soviet Union. They don't it was destroyed before they even know. And some of the so we are so we see that there's Jen. She's a bad guy. He likes to do it.
Hello guys, salamat sa pagpunta sa aking LS guys. Sorry guys, mag-e-end na ako. Thank you sa support guys. Maraming salamat. God bless you all. Mag-e-end na po ako. Till next time, guys. Thank you so much. BFF Kacho, thank you. Sis Ann, thank you sa lahat na nagpunta, guys. Salamat. Bye-bye.